following announcement's been paid for by the Savvo and Stubby Show.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
What is up, wrestling fans? It's me. It's S-T-U-B-B-Y. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the mighty man himself, Stubby. And I am coming to you from Kayfabe Studios in Modesto, California. And as usual, I am joined by my colleague on SavoNet, coming to you from S&S Studios in Livermore, California. He is none other than Savvo the Savior. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Good.
Good to be getting our show going again. What episode is this now? 12?
13. You were out one.
13?
Yeah, you were out one.
Bam! Alright.
I would have met up with you today, but I'm, what's that when you're like, quarantined? I'm quarantined right now.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's like an oven in this room right now. But
it's sauna in here.
Episode 13, we are fresh off the heels of WWE Payback that took place in San Jose, California. But before we jump into the pay-per-view, we should probably touch on what has happened on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. But before that, I had noted in, I don't remember if it was last episode or the episode prior, that I have an interview with Todd Smith, but I realized that the footage, or the interview itself, was left back in Connecticut in the storage utility closet, and I have to go back and get it.
No way.
Yeah, and I think...
Wait. You're shitting me, right?
No, I gotta hop on a plane and fly back to Connecticut to go get it, and I'm risking a lot, because I can't go to jail.
You're fucking banned from there. What are you talking about?
Hey, we gotta do what we gotta do, plus... I gotta pick up some other things, you know, that other thing.
What thing?
You know, the other thing. The ass cream.
What?
The ass cream.
What? No.
It's medicated. It's prescribed, and we need it.
Well, fucking get out there, because I need it bad.
So, yeah, after this show goes off the air, I'm hopping on a flight heading to Connecticut, and hopefully I can get in and get out without any troubles. But,
be careful.
Here we go.
Hey, and if they, what are you going to do if they ask you to give up your seat?
I watch enough wrestling. I think I can handle myself. All right, so Monday Night Raw. This was the Monday Night Raw after the pay-per-view. So I know we're... Actually, you know what? Let's go in order. Let's do Payback first, since it only makes sense.
All right, let's do it.
So this pay-per-view came to us from right in our own backyard, San Jose, California. And it's been noted that they have not had a pay-per-view in San Jose for 10 years now. They had the Hall of Fame ceremony back at WrestleMania 31.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual pay-per-view itself has not taken place in San Jose for about 10 years now.
Did they mention which one it was that was in San Jose last time, 10 years ago?
They did not. But it's funny because you and I talked about getting tickets to this pay-per-view months ago. And as time progressed, we were kind of on the fence whether or not we wanted to still do that. And as it got closer, it was almost clear that it would have been not in our best interest to do that. It would have been a waste of money. But we did, in fact, have a correspondent there at the arena, the original Big Joe, who actually got some footage, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so let's run down the card. Show opened up. Do we want to do the pre-card, or we want to jump right into the show? Because I'm fine with just the main show itself.
Yeah, just the main show.
So we had a Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. And it's funny because I took notes on this. When Kevin Owens came out, they show a picture of him in that whole United States angle, and his picture's on the ramp as he comes out. And I don't know if it was meant to do this because it was pretty damn funny. The way the camera angle was set up, it looked like his face was one of those cartoon caricatures, or like a funhouse mirror. His face was really stretched, and if you missed it, I recommend going back and checking it out because it's worth a good chuckle.
I'll have to do that. Was that he was like all looking at it?
I think so.
Looking down?
Yeah, I think so.
I noticed somebody was looking down at it, but I thought they were just going along with it, but I didn't notice what exactly it looked like.
And
I'll have to check it out again.
I took a note on this. This is going to be after, obviously, we go over the result of the match. But by Chris Jericho losing the title on SmackDown the following Tuesday, does that mean he goes back to Monday Night Raw, or does he stay there with Kevin Owens at this point?
I would assume he'd stay there.
So then there was really no purpose to...
Probably just to throw everybody off, because everybody knows about, he's going on tour and this and that.
Yeah, that wasn't...
And that's the way I looked at it anyway.
That wasn't confusing at all. Okay, well, so what was your take on the Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho match?
It was... they're both, great talents on the roster, but to me, honestly, I'm kind of tired of it. It was still a good match, don't get me wrong, but, we've seen it how many times now. It did surprise me that Jericho did win the United States Championship. But, again, as we just said, he lost it 2 days later. But it was an okay match.
I agree. I agree. The feud kind of went stale shortly after the Festival of Friendship, and I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin for that whole storyline because I was looking forward to it at WrestleMania, but it didn't get to that level that I thought it would, and I thought it should have. And to draw it out, it's funny because I predicted that Chris Jericho was going to win the belt or the title. If I was booking it, though, I think I would have had Jericho retain it even after SmackDown and go on tour. Because the way that WWE is doing these angles now, it doesn't even seem like they really care who has the title and what the length of the run is with the title. So...
They probably don't. They don't give a shit. They're just trying to, not necessarily shock everybody, but like this, I think they just threw that in as a swerve because of, everybody's been talking about Jericho going on tour with Fozzy. And yeah, it was kind of, I was kind of surprised that, he did win it, but again, he lost it 2 days later, so.
That finish with Kevin Owens with his hand on the rope thing, they already did it with the finger on the rope, so I feel like they went to the well one too many times again. And Vince Russo made a good point. He goes, if I was writing this, I would have left there leaving no windows, doors open to make it like clear cut how this match ended. He said, why didn't Kevin Owens just reach for the rope with his other hand? He's got a bad hand because Jericho's mashed it up, but you have a second hand. And it wasn't like he was out of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. I like Chris Jericho. I like Kevin Owens. I like them better as a tag team, but it worked nonetheless.
I think maybe that's why we're tired of it, because we want them more together than apart.
I mean, you could have won another angle too. You could have had, even though Chris Jericho's not really from Canada, you got two Canadians that don't like each other. They can be like the whole like East Coast West Coast thing. Even though I don't know if there's an East Coast West Coast in Canada. Are there coasts in Canada?
Yeah.
I've never been good at geology. And yes, Josh, I meant to say geology. You don't need to correct me. All right. Do you have the card in order, or are we just naming off matches at this point?
Can you say that again? I didn't catch that first part.
I said, do you have the card in order, or are we just going off...
No, it's not in order.
All right, let's do the oh-so favorite by the original Big Joe and the Cracker from the Wetback and Cracker Hour. We got Bayley, the hometown favorite, versus Alexa Bliss, 5 Feet of Fury. I know you have some opinions about this match, so let's hear it. Let's get it out there.
It was actually a pretty decent match. I'm glad Bliss won the title. I don't really hate Bayley. I know it may sound like I do. I just don't understand how people can support her as much as they do, and I see something totally different than everybody else sees. I mean, I see her speed isn't up to par. I'm not going to get into the whole thing again, but anyway, I'm glad Bliss took the title. Bayley, this was probably her best match from being on the main roster, so kudos to Bayley. Bliss is just amazing on the mic. She's got good moves. She's a good. I see her as being, not quite up there with Charlotte, but she's up there with Becky Lynch, I think. Speaking
of Charlotte, that's going to be something that we talk about later on in the show, because I broke the news on the Savvo and Stubby show the morning that it happened yesterday, and it was almost immediately after it surfaced, because I had not heard anything prior to that, so I'm proud to say that we were one of the first sources to put it out there, even though I copied the article from another wrestling page, nonetheless. With Bayley, I wouldn't say she grew on me in that match, but I can kind of see why some people like her. There's nothing really bad about her persona that's not likable, and I think the angle that you're taking is too much of a technicality standpoint and not as your typical fan, and that's why we have such difficulty when it comes to picking winners and losers in these matches, because we're picking it based on who we think they are as a character and not how they make money for the organization. And I know Bayley's merch was selling tenfold hand over fist in San Jose that day. The days of trying to get the heel over and the hometown favorites home just for the pure aspect of getting heat, I think those days are dead. I think WWE would have been better off by booking Bayley to win this match, kind of like they did with Naomi in Florida. And then worst case scenario, somehow have a match with Alexa and Bayley the following night on Raw and have Bayley win it there or lose it there. Because
I never thought of it that way.
It just seems like I wouldn't call us fanboys. We're smarks. And as a smark, we already saw this one coming, that Bayley was going to lose it, simply because it's her hometown. And Vince still has that old school mentality that the heel gets the heat by winning against the champion's hometown.
Yeah.
So what is the benefit if, say, Alexa Bliss was champion in her hometown? Would she have lost it? Because she's the heel.
Right. Who knows? The way things have been going, other than Naomi winning the title, it's been that in your hometown you lose it, yeah. But, shit, who knows, man? Who knows what they're coming up with?
And maybe that should be our hot topic today, like a twofold topic. Is heat really heat these days? Like, do wins and losses really matter? And then the also famous, is the gimmick dead? We'll get into that later. Next match I have is Austin Aries versus Neville. I'll let you go ahead and give you your take, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in.
It was a pretty good match. I really enjoyed that one. The only thing I did not enjoy about it was that my boy A-Double got robbed. Neville retained the title. Hopefully hopefully there's another title shot down the road for Aries. It was a good match, so one of my favorites from Payback.
Oh yeah, it was very technical, and the only problem I have with this match, and this might be in the stubby sound off, is that if Neville is able to win the match by disqualification and keep the title, why wait 10 minutes into the match to do what he did? Why not just knock the ref out right when the bell rang? I think they need to change. Yeah, they need to change the rules. I mean, some other federations, some other indie circuits, and what do you want to call those? I'm drawing a blank.
I try to answer, but I don't know where you're going
territories.
with it.
Some other territories have changed their rules that, the champion can't retain his title by disqualification.
Promotions.
There you go, promotions. I think that the match should have continued, and I think it should have only been able to finish with a pinfall or submission. Because then the heel has that right every single time to just knock the ref out or use a chair.
Exactly. Right. And it used to be that, if you kick somebody in the balls too, whether it's the ref or the opponent, that was called for disqualification. I mean, they could just do that and match is over. You lost, but you get to keep your belt, your title.
Yeah, look at WCW. They had it for a while there. You get fined if you threw somebody over the top rope.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was for the safety of the wrestlers, but it's hard to book reality when you can find the holes in the storylines. And don't get me wrong, it was still a good match, and I walk away pleased on it. The pay-per-view itself in full was a decent pay-per-view.
It actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting. I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of mediocre, but it was a little bit better than just mediocre.
The next one I had on the card would be the Hardy Boys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. And once again, I'll let you give me your take first, then I'll add my 2 cents.
Okay. First of all, I get the feeling like you're not really thrilled about the Hardy Boys or whatever. Me personally, I actually think I like them more now than I did back in the early 2000s or whatever. Whether it's because of their broken Matt Hardy, whether it's because they were in TNA, probably both of those. But I don't know. I like them. I like what they're doing, whether it is broken or not. The match itself, that is another one that I really enjoyed against Cesaro and Sheamus. Hardy's pulled it off, retained the title. Well, if you watched Raw, you'll see what happened there. So it's a little twist to it, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the match. I don't know. I'm living the Hardys now instead of back then. For me, what was your take on it?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I actually am not a fan of the rejuvenated or Hardys 2.0 that WWE has reintroduced to us after WrestleMania. Like I said on the previous show, I think they've already ran their course with the Hardy Boys gimmick. I'm hoping that WWE does put the Broken Matt Hardy angle in effect shortly. And after watching the Orton versus Wyatt match, and forgot what we watched behind the scenes, where they've actually incorporated cinematics to the storyline, it gives me hope that WWE is going to approach the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick with some entertainment value. The only problem is with the Hardy Boys, when they were in Impact, the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick thing, they didn't have to do that live. They had time to do the pre-taping of their whole skits. WWE is a weekly broadcast, which gives them small windows while they're touring in between doing house shows, that I don't know if we're going to get the full quality that one can get when, one, they have the full creative over it, and two, when they have the time to do it, edit it, add production to it. But the Matt Hardy angle, because it's a PG era now, I can't take them serious like I did when they were doing the whole TLC matches and everything. But we got what's the next pay-per-view coming up for Raw?
Shit. I can't remember.
It's one where the rules don't matter. I can't think of what it's called right now. I'm drawing the biggest blank. When they get to set the stipulations to their matches, it's a gimmick pay-per-view. I'll go back in and edit it once I figure it out. But we'll see the true level of where the Hardys are at that pay-per-view, because that's when they can set the stipulations with the table matches and everything. Because I noticed we are seeing some color at the pay-per-views, and I think it's simply because it's not not on network TV. But Sheamus and Cesaro, they are a damn good tag team together, and I like that angle.
Yeah, definitely.
And Sheamus laid in a mean kick. I mean, a vicious kick on Jeff Hardy.
That's when he lost his tooth?
Yeah, but what's weird about that, there was no blood. It was a clean knock. Which makes me wonder if that was set up to where he just had his tooth in his mouth and he spit it out when he got kicked, because even if it's a crown or a veneer, you would think there'd be some kind of drag when it left the mouth and that there'd be some blood, but no, it was, it looked very Mick Foley-esque.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah. Huh. But so your deal with the Hardys, are you you basically think they don't have it anymore, or what?
Yeah, I'm done with the Hardys. And you know what? It's great that some people are still on that ship. Whatever floats your boat, because I'm going to stay on land. So it breaks us off into what many would say was a horrible match, a horrible gimmick, and horrible timing for the pay-per-view. And I would have to disagree. It was the Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt House of Horrors match. As a fan of the Attitude Era and as a fan of entertainment, I really liked this match. I think there could have been a lot more added to it, but before I give my take, let's see what you have to say.
When they first talked about the House of Horrors and this and that, to me it just sounded like it was going to end up being stupid. They were going to put too much into it, which would actually take away from the match. But they kind of went the more basic route, and honestly, I enjoyed the match a lot. They were really going at it, man. I mean, you see, like when they were in the kitchen, he was like throwing them into the counter, and like the faucet, the sink was right there. So it's like he could have easily just like overshot or just hit a corner or something. It's just, I mean, shit, you do that shit in everyday life.
Yeah, it's essentially a hardcore match.
Not that you're fighting, but you hit shit that you're not supposed to, whether it's with your knee or your elbow or your shoulder. It's just like, fuck, they were going at it.
Yeah, it was essentially...
I liked it.
It was essentially a hardcore match that we haven't seen in a while.
Right. The only one thing that... I don't know. The whole refrigerator thing, I mean, it didn't even fall, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, it fell over, but it hit the counter, so it was never, like laying down or whatever, but it was at an angle because it hit the counter, but it never really caught Randy. But if he did, there wouldn't have been a way he can continue that match.
I had some notes on this. I put, why did Randy Orton have to get in a limousine with no shirt on. Like, I would at least put a shirt on, or I would have arrived in like a truck or something. But it's just weird to, drive up in a fancy limo to a rundown house. The music was good. I think Jim Johnston really nailed it on the that horror feel to it.
Yeah.
I even made a joke. I bet Bray Wyatt drove Randy Orton there, and then Orton had to drive Bray Wyatt back. That's why we never see the limo driver.
Now, how did Orton get back to the arena?
Oh, he drove. He drove. That's why Wyatt got to ride in the back this time, and Orton was in the front. What kills me is when Randy Orton arrived after the tractor drove by, he looks in the window and he sees Bray Wyatt looking at him, and he goes to open the front door. Call me crazy, but I've never seen someone try to open a front door by pulling it toward them in frustration. I mean, unless you're Christina Applegate on Married to Children, you're supposed to push, not pull. And he gets angry and kicks the door. I'm like, dude, he probably just turned the doorknob. He would have been fine.
You gotta push, not pull.
And then I hear they're selling this house. It's a house that's actually listed in Missouri for about $39,000.
Yeah.
But after seeing the electricity work, they need to hire a new electrician because a lot of those lights were flickering. And I would get somebody in there to appraise it first before I spent $38,000 on it.
They need to get a new electrical system.
And it's amazing because out of all that house, as run down as it was, there were only cobwebs in the door frames, which was weird.
Probably just recently added to.
I guess spiders only chill in doorways. They didn't feel welcome to come inside the house.
That was probably one of Bray's hideouts.
Yeah.
Since, Randy burned down the other one, so.
But, I mean, what I liked about it, though, out of all this, was the fact that and it wasn't meant to be comedic, but there were a lot of funny angles with this. It had entertainment value. I sat through it, watched it all. I shook my head in some parts, but overall, it wasn't bad. I think the point when Randy Orton starts to walk down the hallway where that bright light is, he should have went down there, and it should have led to, like, a basement, a creepy, like, cave that was, like, dug underground. But no, he stops at the door frame, and Bray Wyatt grabs him through the wall. I think there was a lot of potential in this match that they cut short. And I kind of understand, too, because it was a pre-tape, and those that were not at home had to watch it in the arena on the Titantron. But the problem with doing a pre-tape like that is you had 4 matches before that were, I wouldn't say on fire, but it had the show running smoothly. It was booked well. And then you go to a pre-tape and you take all the wind out of everyone's sails. Yeah.
That would kind of suck, and you had to pay, whatever you paid for tickets, and okay, we're going to turn the lights out and watch a movie, basically,
Oh yeah, and I listened to a podcast, and they had someone recorded audio on their cell phone, and the crowd was cheering "boring" during the taping.
Yeah.
And of course, WWE is going to cut the audio out in the audience for that.
Oh, of course.
But I mean, like you said, I had low expectations going into this match because I figured the writers didn't even know what it was, and I thought we were going to get some kind of corny, like, last-minute thrown-together thing, but they look like they put some production value into this, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Cameraman sucked,
Same here.
But I liked it.
Well, shit, it was probably pretty confined in there. Pretty old house. It didn't seem like there was that much room to move around.
Well, that was funny, too, because Orton made it seem like it was a mansion, the way he was walking into each room. Like, he had to walk slow to actually not end up in the kitchen 2 steps later. And it's right. He was yelling out Bray Wyatt, and Bray could be standing, like, right next to him, and he wouldn't even know, because the house was so small. And the other cool thing about that, though, is I think this was near Randy Orton's home because the house is listed in Missouri. So I wonder if Orton did some real estate searching. He went house hunting while they were trying to figure out where to do this. I thought it'd be like in a warehouse or something, to be honest with you, not an actual house.
I wonder how much they rented the place for to do the match.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they bought it outright, and they're probably selling it right back.
Maybe.
All right, so we've got the Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. What's your take?
This, to me, is just like another Owens Jericho. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it's like you've kind of seen it before, and now it's like their feud kind of fizzled. It's like Triple H hasn't been in the picture since WrestleMania. Owens got shipped to SmackDown Live. It's like, so is there really still a feud there? Is there anything, To me, again, it was a good match, sure, but it didn't have much behind it. What about you?
Well, if they actually have a storyline in place, then that's great, but I didn't get the point of booking Seth Rollins as the winner here. I mean, you've got Samoa Joe, who's been on a destruction path so far, and has taken out everyone he's come encounter with. I mean, he's deemed the destroyer for a reason, and I think by letting him win this match, you could have put him in place to where he's looking at contenders like Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, who are these giant guys. But you have a Samoa Joe, given it was kind of like a fluke ending, so they kind of still predict him or protect him in this way. But unless Seth Rollins is getting the storyline that he's knocked out both Triple H and Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens and stuff like that to where it leads to a faction build, then I get it. But if the sole purpose was just to get him over, Seth Rollins in my book is still not over. And I think it did more harm to Kevin Owens or to Samoa Joe than it did benefiting Seth Rollins.
Yeah, wait. So do you think that Rollins is not over? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he's over at all.
That, but is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, like I was telling you when we had this talk, because you were hyping up Austin Aries to me, and I said I have nothing against Austin Aries, but one of the key facets to getting somebody over is a catchphrase or something about their appearance that stands out. For example, my example was if you got two kids wrestling in the front yard, when one person comes out waving his hand in front of his face or he's wearing bright colors, you're like, oh, that's Cena. And then if you got someone wearing like a jester cap with face paint all over their face and they're walking like a spider, you're like, oh, that's Finn Balor. But when you
I
get,
would have said that's Macho Man.
But yeah, but when you get someone like Seth Rollins,
no, I know.
What is his over? I mean, what is it about him that goes, oh, that's Seth Rollins? You walk with a limp?
Wear a knee brace, yeah.
I guess. My other problem with this is Seth Rollins does not sell long enough. If anyone is known for selling really good in the business, I would have to say Dolph Ziggler and even Roman Reigns at this point. When Roman Reigns was taking the shots from Braun Strowman, he sold it the whole match through that his left side was damaged.
Yeah.
And when you got someone like Seth Rollins, who a lot of his offense comes off the ropes and whatnot, he's got a knee injury. You can't kick somebody with your knee, limp for a few minutes, and then hit an elbow drop off the top rope. There's just no buying there, and that element or that art seems to be lost these days.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, since you put it that way, and I understand more where you're going with it. But yeah. I mean, the whole catchphrase thing. It seems like that really started being like the big thing, like with Austin and The Rock. To me, I mean, it took a whole I mean, sure, you had Hogan with the taking your vitamins and saying your prayers, and you had
what you gonna do,
Flair
brother?
With the, what's that?
What you gonna do, brother?
And you had Flair with the limousine ride and all that stuff. But I think like Austin and The Rock took it a step further, almost like to where it is today, where even if you can't wrestle, your promos are more important. For example, not saying they can't wrestle, but are they all that when it comes to Enzo and Cass?
No, they're not at all. I mean, I don't think either
Right.
one of them can wrestle.
But yet everybody cheers for them. I'm not, they got their thing going. That's great for them. Don't get me wrong. But it's like the thing that gets me, and that's where the Bayley thing falls into play too, is like these people are cheering them because of what comes out of their mouth, not because of their talent.
Well, that's where it seems to be.
What I mean? In the ring.
That's where it seems to be lost on you, though. Is you've had wrestlers correct themselves. It's no longer wrestling; it's sports entertainment, and the entertainment value portion of it is severely highlighted. That they emphasize the word entertainment. You're a sports.
Yeah.
You're a sports entertainment. I mean, you're not even a wrestler anymore. You're a superstar. When you think of superstar,
Right.
you think of actors.
You think of Superman and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, those superheroes, but still.
Before we get to the last match, we did have a continuation to the House of Horrors. I unfortunately did not catch this, so I'm going to rely on you to let me know what happened and what your take was. I do have some feedback on it. I know the footnotes on it, but what was your take?
You mean how the match ended?
Yeah.
Oh, well. So Orton ended up winning, retaining, right? And Jinder Mahal ended up attacking him and taking the title. I thought it was kind of.
I think you're mixed up.
Kind of lame.
I think you're mixed up.
What?
I think you're mixed up.
Yep.
Jinder Mahal.
Am I?
Yeah, Jinder Mahal came out and interfered Orton, and Bray Wyatt got the finish, the win.
Oh, wait. Did I say that? Oh, yeah. Okay. My bad. It seems like it's been 2 weeks instead of one since we saw.
Exactly. Too much. I mean, the storylines are just so blurred now. My whole thing was the angle on that is what's the point to have Jinder Mahal come out and interfere the match? You did this whole production thing. You made people watch it on TV for 20 minutes or so just to have an interference finish that you had already pre-established before the pay-per-view started. I feel like if I was sitting if I sat in that arena, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody wants the match to end with a DQ or a, interference like that.
You know what's funny is I listened to another podcast talk about the Hollywood lot brawl between Goldust and Roddy Piper. I had no knowledge until just recently that was a pre-tape, that was shot 2 separate times. I mean,
oh, was it? I didn't know that.
It was obvious that the White Bronco thing was footage they took from the OJ thing, but they blurred the lines of reality. I thought that was happening live, and that when they came back into the arena, that was happening actual, not that it was pre-taped and they just timed it. Because when the match between Orton and Wyatt started, it was pitch black outside, so we knew that it wasn't in the same time zone, that it was pre-taped. Right. But there was no telling in the Goldust and Piper. So, to disband your belief, WWE failed on that aspect, and just to have the match end the way it ended, I would have been really pissed off. But it was nice to see Jinder Mahal getting that push.
Yeah, exactly, man. He's freaking huge. That's a beast.
Yeah, according to Ryback, the guy's juiced.
Yeah, coming from him.
Yeah, that's a pot calling the kettle black, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he not only did he didn't outright say the guy was using steroids, but he said that the guy has bitch tits.
Bitch tits.
Which I guess that's a side effect of steroid use. You get a thing called gyno, which you get fatty tissue buildup in your chest area. And if you look at Jinder Mahal, he does kind of have a sagginess to his chest. But the guy is passing drug tests. He's passing drug screens unless he is Vince's special project and Vince is turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah, really. That's definitely a possibility. Yeah. I mean, come on, it's Vince.
But at the same time, Vince won't acknowledge that. He'll deny.
Yeah.
But it leads us to our main event. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. What is your take on this?
That was pretty freaking brutal. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good match. Everybody, whether they actually do hate Roman Reigns or they're just going with the flow because everybody else is saying, they hate him or whatever. I don't hate him. I don't think he sucks. He has decent matches. They're all been pretty good. They're way better than Ambrose's matches. Yet everybody loves Ambrose. But I don't know. I just don't know why. Okay, yeah, Vince is pushing him down everybody's throats and this and that, but he's good, okay? I'm not saying he's the best, but he doesn't suck. Now, the match itself, pretty damn brutal, yeah.
First and foremost, though, before we go into detail of that, one thing I have to give WWE credit for, and I can't say this for every instance, but for this one specifically, they took the high road and they didn't use the death of his brother Matty as any kind of influence on the match. I mean, when the Big Show lost his father, they did the whole angle with him and Big Boss Man at the cemetery, which was in such bad taste. And typically, WWE will exploit wrestlers' personal lives as a part of the storyline to integrate it in. But the fact that they completely dodged it altogether and let this guy get some time to recover from the passing of his brother, I can respect that.
Yeah, but like what you were talking about, the Big Show and Boss Man, and I mean they have to. They still, if like Big Show didn't feel comfortable doing it or whatever, they wouldn't have done it. They. You really think so? Like with
you really think so? This is the guy that's writing your paychecks. You're going to tell him no, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I doubt that. We're not talking, $30,000 to $40,000 a year paycheck. We're talking millions of dollars that you could be potentially losing. I know that I would have to go along with it if I was in those shoes. So I mean, I kind of get it. But yeah, like you said, the match itself was pretty brutal. A lot of times when you get two big guys in the ring like that, you can't carry a match that long and hold any kind of validity unless it's just power versus power. But I have to say, for as big as Braun Strowman is, there's a lot of agility behind that guy, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when I can't remember who it was. It may have been Roman or even Big Show, but like when they come running at him, and he just scoops him up and gives them like a power slam or whatever. It's like you don't even have to he just does it so easily. You don't even have to make sure he's in a certain not stance, but take a step before it just goes so smoothly. I don't know how to explain it, but there's been a couple times where it's just like he picks somebody up and boom, it just flows so naturally. It's just like, damn. Strong motherfucker.
And I like the fact that they carried the match into talking Raw, or Raw Talk or whatever. That gave you that believability that the show didn't end after it went off the air. But the whole gimmick of the "I'm not finished with you yet" was kind of hilarious to hear him yell that out before he slammed into that ambulance door.
Oh, he ripped the fucking door off of that thing.
Which makes me wonder if he really did sustain like a torn rotator cuff. And if he did, that's going to require surgery. That's not like one of these injuries you just put ice on it and you're out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like what is it, 6 months or something?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'm getting a little sidetracked because I have WWE Network on in the background while I'm talking to you. And out of all the people that they're doing a segment on, it's Charlotte Flair on her tattoos. Which actually, I think this leads to a great segment into the next topic. I'm done talking about Payback if you are.
Yeah.
But we have Charlotte Flair, who had made news yesterday as apparently being another one of these WWE female talents whose nude photos have leaked on the internet. What is your take?
I was actually, it wasn't. I don't even know how to explain this here. It kind of made me more sad than anything, because a lot of people were kind of like talking shit, like, cause she doesn't look good or whatever. But in a way, it's like, it's her body. She's fucking worked. I mean, come on, she's fucking worked her ass off to maintain that, but to get that body and maintain that body, just because we don't like it or somebody else doesn't like it, who the fuck are we? She fucking busts her ass. You know what I mean? It was just so many like negative comments about it, and it's just like, well, Jesus, if I fucking took my shirt off or my clothes off, and you know, what would I get from that? You know, it's like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it just got me a little bad from it. It's just like, these people are fucking brutal. But, I mean, sure, who is perfect? You know what I mean? Is where I'm going with this.
Kurt Hennig?
No, he's dead.
Oh, he's perfectly dead. He even did that right.
No, but you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, you know, guys talk, blah, 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 whatever. Oh, look at this, look at that. But it's like, she's fucking worked her ass off to, I mean, she is very muscular, you know, she's more built, more masculine, you know? And it's like, well, you see it in the pictures. I mean, that might not be what some of the guys like or whatever, but she knows what she's doing with her body. She wants to be that build. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my take.
That's like,
she, in my opinion, she's a very attractive woman in the face at times. There are times where she looks very Flair-esque, and it kind of throws me off. But there are times where she actually is a very attractive woman. However, I wish I would not have seen these photos. Her photos were not done in bad taste. You can tell she took these photos to, 1, check to see what her physique was. 2, probably to document all of her tattoos. You know, we've all looked in the mirror at ourselves naked. But she just happened to document the photos, and some asshole decided to leak them. And everyone's beautiful in their own way. You know, like you said, she's busted her ass to get where she's at. She's climbed her way from the bottom to the top. She's had to go harder than a lot of these other women in the business simply because she's coming off her father's legacy. And, I mean, it started off in the beginning that she was using her father to help her career, but realized that a lot of people thought she was only getting where she was at because of her father. And she shook that free and continues to to be the workhorse that she is for the women's division. I had to say in the photos, I'm not going to deny, I've looked at the photos. She has very masculine features in the midsection area, which is not appealing, and it does her justice on TV because they can hide that for the most part. But she's also not 5'4", 5'5" like a lot of these other women talent. She's 5'10", 5'11". She's got some height to her, which muscle's going to show a lot more than it would if you're compact. It just sucks because wherever she was at when the photos dropped, sources say that she left in devastation. She was really, really distraught by this. She hopped on Twitter and noted that she wants these pictures taken down immediately, which ironically, the website that I initially saw the photos on did in fact pull the photos off. So I don't know how she was able to get the same, or how she was able to get the amount of resources that she did to get these photos removed, because other talent has not been as fortunate. But it's not an easy task to find these pictures online now, just saying. But I hope it does not adversely affect her to where she no longer wants to wrestle, because some people do take things like this. Like, for example, X-Pac with the whole China passing away. The guy kind of fell apart and has been on a destructive path. He slowly got his life back together, but it seems like he's going down that road again. And I would hate to see something like this, photos, which we had Paige's photos drop, a month ago, and it's already been forgotten about. That if Paige can bounce back from it, I'm hoping Charlotte can too, because I hope it doesn't affect her in-ring abilities, because she carries a good portion of that show.
Yeah. Yeah, I just felt it was kind of like a shame, It's just like, I don't know, I don't know, it kind of bugged me in a way. It's just like, she's badass, and, it's not like she was, brought up to be a wrestler. She just did that in the last few years, you know what I mean? She fucking busted her ass. She was, into gymnastics or whatever. And I don't know. That's very unfortunate. But she'll pull. She's a trooper. Not that I know her, but but you can tell she's. Damn it, she's like, who compares to her? Seriously,
right?
Past or present.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Monday Night Raw. All right, so Monday Night Raw, if I remember correctly, this came to us from Sacramento, California.
I believe so. Yeah,
all right.
About right.
What do you have? What stood out for you that comes off as noteworthy?
Well, they started off the show with 8 women competitors: Mickie James, Dana Brooke, Emma, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, and Bayley, and Bliss, Alexa Bliss. So they were all in the ring, and Alexa was talking how she won the title. She's awesome on the mic, man. It's just like, damn, she's so good.
Which is surprising, because you would have thought that they would have opened the show with Braun Strowman after what happened. But as I noted for the pay-per-view for Payback, Braun supposedly suffered a torn rotator cuff, so both him and Roman Reigns were absent for this show. So if anything can open the show, Alexa Bliss was a good fit for me. But what was your take?
It was funny because Bliss was saying, that she saw Bayley's family in the front row, her nephews and her dad, blah, blah, blah. And she says, and now even your nephews have a real role model to look up to. And I guess Bayley got pissed off, so she was like, Bliss was on like this little pedestal type thingy. So Bayley flipped over the thing and jumped on Bliss, and then all 8 women started going at it, which led them to have a 4-on-4 tag match. And Bliss took the win by pinning Bayley again.
Which is surprising. Again, typically WWE likes to do a 50-50 booking, but to have her like put the nail in the coffin to show that she actually is superior over Bayley by coming out with a second win that was a clean win was surprising in my book.
Didn't they have Bayley beat Charlotte twice?
I think so.
Or if not more. I don't know. But yeah, it was cool just to see, you know, Bliss on the mic, and the action was pretty decent too. Let's see. There was a match with Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass. It wasn't like the greatest match or anything.
Are you sure you're getting the right notes?
Yeah.
I thought it was Enzo versus Luke Gallows. Are you watching the right Monday Night Raw?
Well,
there was a booking that was Luke Gallows versus Enzo Amore, which on paper does not make any sense. There's nothing to gain from either one of these guys, and just
you know, you might be right. I really don't know because I was watching it highlights, just like watching fast forward and stuff. So as soon as I saw Anderson and Enzo and Cass come into the ring, I figured it was okay. My bad.
But it's safe to even say that even if you would have said it your way, the result's the same. No one cared. There was nothing to gain from it. Nobody came out on top. And in fact, to believe that Enzo have any real chance to beat Luke Gallows, this is whole like stubby sound off thing of, you know, I'll get to it when we get to the sound off.
Okay, Rollins came out and was saying that he's ready to take on Brock, which led Finn Balor to come out and saying, well, hey, that title was mine. I never lost it. If you want to get in line, you got to get behind me. Well, then Angle comes out. No, take that back. Angle didn't come out. What's his name? Rollins?
I got to stop leaving you to take notes because to my understanding.
Oh, no, take that back. Ambrose comes out. Comes out.
Yes.
And he's trying to like do his little Ambrose Asylum type interview type thing, whatever.
And this
anyway,
is why
it's on his cell phone.
This is why we only get 25 to 30 people viewing our show each week.
No, this is why they tune in for the comedy part.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious when you're running around with your pants down, not knowing where we're going. You know what it is? I think you're in a lot of pain and I need to get that ass cream from the storage shed back at WWE Studios.
When is your flight?
Later tonight. I'm actually going to catch the red eye.
You better hurry the fuck up and get it back to me.
Yeah, I got to take the red eye to fix my brown eye. But I'm bummed.
Anyway, then the Miz came out too, so they were going to end up having a three-way match with the Miz, Finn Balor, and Rollins at the end, you know, at the main event. Do you have anything to add?
Well, it's going to be part of the sound off because, again, it pisses me off that you've got someone... You know, I'm not going to even go there. I'll talk about it on the sound off because it's frustrating.
Okay. And then Sheamus and Cesaro came out and they explained why they attacked the Hardys and said the Hardys stole, you know, the title basically from them because they weren't, at the time, they weren't supposed to be in the WrestleMania match, and here they are out of nowhere, and everybody treats Sheamus like he's a redheaded stepchild, and the problem with the fans is they care more about the nostalgia and the new talent, the upcoming talent, than what's right in front of them, so they've had enough. And they kicked some butt, but what else? There was a cool part where Angle came out and he was talking about Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman about, what's going on with them, how to handle them, or, still got to have some meetings and discuss things, whatever. And then Bray Wyatt's music hits, and, lights go out, whatever, and then he, shows up in the ring. And Bray introduces himself like really proper. It was pretty cool to see that. It was just different, for him. And then, anyway, he ends up asking Angle, is he going to stand beside him, or is he going to get in his way? And then Angle was like, you need to understand this is my show. And then it ended with Bray Wyatt saying, basically, you need to understand this is my world. And, lights went out, blah, blah, blah. Which was pretty cool to see. The three-way match with Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins was off the hook, man. It was freaking awesome. Even, how people talk crap about the Miz, blah, blah, blah. He looked, okay, I understand he's in there with two pretty good guys, talent-wise, but he did some cool stuff, too. And the way he capitalized on Rollins' supposed knee injury, how he kept going after the knee, it was really cool. It was like freaking Ole and Arn Anderson or something. It was just like, damn, that was cool. But it was kind of a little surprise twist to it. Samoa Joe came out and interfered, attacking Seth Rollins. And then, you're thinking, oh, shit, now what's going to happen? And then freaking lights go out. Bray Wyatt comes in, pushes Finn Balor off the ropes, and then gave him the shit.
Sister Abigail?
What?
Sister Abigail?
Yeah, yeah. And then so Rollins is outside on the floor, out, while Balor's in the ring on the floor, out. And then Miz rolls over and gets the win. It was pretty cool. People will be like, "What? Miz won that one?" But the way it happened, it was pretty classic.
Is that everything you got noteworthy for Monday Night Raw?
Yes.
All right. So before we go on to SmackDown, I got a little message from Stubby on the Stubby Sound Off.
Message.
This is the Stubby Sound Off. This is the Stubby Sound Off.
Time for a Stubby Sound Off.
Welcome everyone to another edition of a Stubby Bitch Off. This is the Stubby Sound Off. This week we are going to talk about the IC title, how WWE is now trying to push this as the premier title by completely making it irrelevant that Brock Lesnar is not on TV, nor has the Universal title have to be defended within the 30 days. A guideline, a rule that WWE put in place. And they are trying to do this by everyone showing interest with Dean Ambrose hyping up the IC title like it's a big deal. Don't get me wrong, it is a big deal, but the way that WWE has been recycling their titles, it kind of made it irrelevant to me. They are giving these titles away like condoms at a clinic. It's just ridiculous that you have something like Chris Jericho winning the title at Payback on Sunday. 2 days later, he loses it to Kevin Owens and goes on tour. We already knew ahead of time that Chris Jericho was not going to retain this title. Good story writing would have been for Chris Jericho to retain it and build up to that, but the fact that they just recycle the titles between these guys, along with the titles between the women's division, makes it redundant. It makes it not even worth believing the storyline. WWE's really taken away my interest because of this. The writers are not putting me in a... They're leaving me in a sense of no validity. You've got these 50-50 bookings where people like Enzo and Cass win a match one night, and then the following week you have the club turn around, or the Good Brothers, sorry, turn around and win it the next night. And it's like wins and losses don't matter. You get a title shot if you're famous enough, or if you're a fan favorite. You don't have to put in the work. It pisses me off. Why am I investing 3 hours of my night wanting to watch a show that has no build to it? And the fact that you're having, you know, babyfaces lose their title shots or their championships at their hometown, just so that you can build heat. Those days have gone, Vince. If you can't stay consistent with your writing, no one's going to believe it, and your product's going to suffer for it. And yes, you can say that they're not suffering on the financial side, but long term, you're losing your hardcore fan base because it's no longer a wrestling product. It is a product. It's all branding. So yeah, it's just, why waste my time? I mean, the fact that I'm even talking about it's wasting my time. So, Stubby out. And that's just my take. I mean, I'm gonna bitch. That's what I do. That's what that's what this podcast pays for, right?
That's right.
All right. So finally, we hit SmackDown. This took place in Fresno, California, and I know this because Shane came out and let us know. But before the actual announcement from Shane in ring, they opened the segment with Jinder Mahal doing a photo shoot in the back with the championship in his hands or over his shoulder. And I gotta tell you, the guy looks like a champion. He is the personification of what the role is supposed to be, what a heel looks like when you're the champion. Brings you back to that, like the 80s or early 90s of what the heel role was. And yes, it's a little bit of a gimmick because he's got the whole Arab turban thing on his head thing. That's Vince's way of showing that, oh, he's from another country, instead of just, you know, going off his personality alone. But Shane interrupts the photo shoot and takes the title from Jinder Mahal and says titles are actually won here. They're not just given. Which it was kind of odd storyline-wise that Jinder Mahal didn't fight him on it. He's just like, okay, you can have it back, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. The Maharaja says it's alright. So, your take on SmackDown?
The show as a whole was pretty mediocre. They had, Shane came after that. Shane went out to the ring and introduced the new United States champion on SmackDown, Jericho. So, Jericho came out and did his classic, Jericho stuff. And then AJ came out. AJ's music hits, and he comes out and he's talking about, he wants a challenge for the United States Championship at Backlash. But then, what's his name? Kevin Owens came out too after that, and he was talking his trash, and then AJ started to leave the ring and started kind of a fast walk kind of up the ramp where Owens was still. Then he starts fucking jumping on Owens, and they started going at it. So that was pretty cool, especially being, pretty much right at the beginning of the show. Other than that, they had a decent match with Jinder Mahal against Sami Zayn, which Jinder took that victory. They had a women's tag match, Charlotte and Naomi against Carmella and Natty, Natalya, with, of course, Ellsworth and Tamina ringside. So they interfere. They're beating down on Charlotte and Naomi. And then Becky Lynch's music hits. She comes out there, and she's kind of like, is she going to turn heel and attack Naomi along with them, or is she going to, help them out? So she started acting like she was going to attack Naomi and Charlotte. And, you know, she went up to each individual, not Naomi, Carmella and Natty and Tamina. And she's like, yeah, this is it, you know, we're going to do this. And then she gets up to James Ellsworth and she's like, oh, for you? I want a hug from you. And she goes to hug him, and then that's when she, you know, revealed what her intentions were, and she attacked them, and they ended up beating her ass. Lying, so all three of them were left lying. So yeah, Becky got beat down, and then I saw your boy Kalisto with his new outfit.
My boy.
He looks like. Why? Because you brought it up last time, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I know he's not your boy, but
oh, you know, I hate it. I hate the fact that his music sounds like a club track, and that he looks like a cross between the Boogeyman and a Power Ranger, and Rey Mysterio.
He looks like a Power Ranger, yeah.
It's a joke.
But yeah, he lost his match against Ziggler.
You know, you didn't touch on the fact that Sin Cara now is in complete blue and has no skin showing. It makes me wonder if Sin Cara is still in the WWE, or if they now own the rights to his character and they just get some jobber to wear his gear.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking that too.
Because before, whenever they had Sin Cara come out, I know they switched Sin Cara at least once. And it makes me wonder now that they're not showing any skin. It's all like a bodysuit with the SmackDown brand colors. That this might just be some wrestler that's not getting enough airtime. That actually is a good wrestler. They can't do a story build. That they just throw him in this gimmick and put him out there.
Yeah, probably. I actually thought that too. Another part in the show which sounded like you enjoyed was the Fashion Police angle.
Oh, I loved it. That was what I was talking about earlier when WWE with this whole Hardy Boy gimmick. Remember, I said there was another part that they did like a cinematic part too, which it was very Attitude Era-esque, where they took some time backstage to actually build a character. And you know, Fandango and Tyler Breeze by themselves, they don't seem to be getting over with the crowd. But with this new angle as the Fashion Police, I was entertained. I thought it was hilarious. From the photos in the background, I was distracted a lot of the time by the photos in the background of like Hogan as a fashion victim and John Cena being a missing person because you can't see him. To the point where they even said that they have to give the Usos a ticket for jaywalking and Jimmy walking. It was just the funny play-ons that they had for the whole angle. And if anybody can pull it off, these two guys could. And I loved it because it was out of the norm. It wasn't... That was very much like the early 2000s where there were a lot of segments that took place in the back locker room area that they don't really do anymore. And it was refreshing to see it.
Well, for me, it was good to see that, you know, they're getting their chance. It just came off as really cheesy to me.
But that's the gimmick. They're supposed to be cheesy.
Yeah. That goes back to your days of the gimmick you were talking about recently, as they over or whatever.
Because if you think about it, there really isn't a gimmick these days that really is over. I mean, can Finn Balor, he has the demon angle, but he doesn't do it consistently.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they steer away from it because they don't want it to be what kills him, per se. But other than that, I leave it up to you and the original Big Joe to take notes for Raw and SmackDown, simply because I don't have cable, so I have to watch, and I note this every single time, I have to watch it on Hulu, and I don't get the same feel that you guys get when it's live, which, I mean, it just means I don't have to fall asleep as quickly as you guys do. But if you listen to the Savvo and Stubby show over the last couple weeks, my energy level hasn't been there like it has in the very beginning, and a lot of that is because WWE is losing my interest, and that's why I complained about it on the Savvo, or the Stubby Sound Off, is that I don't have the same drive for the business as I did 2 months ago when we started the podcast.
Yeah, I kind of experienced that at probably like a month ago. Like, okay, we started like 2 months ago. It was like, yeah, we were all full on and blah, blah, blah. And then it just got to a point where it was too much. Like, you know, and it wasn't that great of a product. You know, they were kind of slacking in their, you know, on Raw and SmackDown and all the spoilers and this and that. So I just kind of stopped looking at like spoilers and this and that, and you know, everything you get like on Facebook or in an email or whatever. And it's just like, I'm just trying to limit it because too much was just making me want to turn the other way.
Well, it kills me too because we get over 7 hours worth of content from Monday night all the way to Wednesday night. When you take into account Monday Night Raw, Raw Talk, Talking Smack, SmackDown Live, and 205 Live and NXT. Yet we...
And Impact.
Yeah, and we struggle to get an hour and 15 minutes, an hour 20 minutes worth of content. I mean, we even had an extra 3 hours for a pay-per-view. And I still find a struggle to actually talk about these things and hold an interest to it because I would have wrote it so many different ways. I mean,
yeah, you sure would have.
I mean, hell, we can do a podcast alone using the characters that currently exist and write our own storylines and have it all play out, and we'd get more of an audience.
Might be true, yeah.
But anything else you want to notate about SmackDown before we wrap this show up?
Yeah, one last thing. Their main event was, again, Jericho versus Owens for the U.S. Championship title, and there is a new U.S. champion. Kevin Owens won the title. So that was very short-lived, of 2 days, so...
And yeah, see, that's the other complaint that I have is giving titles to people just to take it right back. What's the purpose?
Yeah, like that whole Sasha Charlotte thing. They were just going back and forth. Like that one really kind of got to me because I felt Charlotte was so much better that, she lost like 3 times to her. I can see once, maybe twice, but 3 times or whatever it was just like, but yeah, like this I think was just to throw everybody off from Payback.
Well, it's funny too because when I was in high school, I actually owned a couple wrestling almanacs, and I would bring it to school with me like during lunch or even in class and read the almanac of like when the titles changed hands, where it changed hands at, who holds the title the most. And now if you were to pick up an almanac, it would be as thick as a dictionary because the titles changed hands so many times. And we've had titles go from a U.S. title or the world title to turning into the unified title and back to like the whole brand split thing. It screwed the whole title picture up.
Yeah.
And I get why they did the Jericho angle of him winning the title on Sunday, but to have it for 2 days just to throw us off that he could win it didn't make any sense to me. I would have had him still have it going on tour. And I know he's got a tight tour schedule, but he can make an appearance. I mean, if the guy has time to do podcasts and do a show and go on tour and whatever, I'm pretty sure he can stop in whatever city they're at just to relinquish the title.
Not only that, but they could have, if they really wanted to make it to a twist. They could have had him retain it. Okay, get the title on Payback, keep it on SmackDown, and because at the end of SmackDown, he got his ass beat. Owens, totally kicked his ass. So they can have him off for a week or two. Maybe do one match and then lose it then. You know what I mean? Or if he can't defend it in that 30-day period, he'll have to relinquish it or whatever. You know what I mean? There's different angles they could have taken.
Another angle is turn Jericho completely heel. Have him retain the title, come back on his 30 days, challenge Kevin Owens to a match, and pull the shit that Neville did, and interfere somehow, hit the ref or something, get disqualified, still hold the title for another 30 days when he comes back. Now the fans will hate him.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, the fans
he defended it.
Yeah, fans will hate him for the fact that he cheapened his victory by retaining the title in an unfair, unrealistic way by getting disqualified.
Right.
And Jericho can insert himself as a heel or a babyface anytime. He's that kind of character.
Oh yeah, definitely. If anybody can, he can. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what?
That's all I got for SmackDown.
It's getting hot in this studio, so as usual.
One thing real quick.
Yeah.
One thing real quick. Since we very rarely talk much about it, Impact had a couple pretty good matches. They had Matt Sydal against Eddie Edwards. Great match. I posted a clip of it on our Facebook page.
It's not Matt Rydell?
No, it's Sydal. It's actually like Sydal, the way it's spelled, with his D-A-L. But anyway, and then there was another good match with their main event was Alberto El Patron against Eli Drake, which was also a pretty good match. I don't know. I think they get a lot of hate, but I think they have a decent product. It's not the best at this point, but they're getting good talent in there. And there's actually another good match. It was Magnus against Matt Morgan. It was decent. It wasn't the greatest match ever or anything like that, but it was cool. But that's all I got.
All right, guys. As always, wrestling is real. People are fake. It's me, STUBBY, because I'm the man, the myth, the legend, the mighty man himself, Stubby, and my colleague,
Savvo the Savior, signing off.
Be sure to check
Thanks for listening.
Be sure to check out our affiliates. You've got the Wetback and Crack a Power Hour. You can find them on pretty much all social media platforms. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, Spreaker, Apple iTunes. Also, be sure to check out Todd Smith and the No Gimmicks podcast. You can find Todd Smith at No Gimmicks podcast on YouTube. You can check them out on their Facebook page. Stubby out.
All right, go get that cream.
I gotta make sure I pack light because I don't plan to be there long.